Welcome to another enlightening episode of Lengua Viva Cultural Insights, hosted by the ever-curious John Parker and the insightful Amanda Mitchell. Today's episode promises to be a captivating journey through the intricate history of our understanding of language neuroscience. Join John and Amanda as they unravel these monumental milestones in the field of language neuroscience. Remember to support Lengua Viva Cultural Insights by joining their Patreon community, where you can access exclusive comprehension exercises, vocabulary lists, infographics related to each topic, and transcripts to enhance your listening comprehension.
Ever get to the end of like a really detailed story and you're like, hold on, how did my brain just do that?
Yeah.
Today we're gonna really like get into the whole how our brains do language thing.
Yeah. It's incredible.
We're going on a deep dive right into these excerpts, going way past the whole like just talking and listening
Right,
to figure out those brain networks that make it all happen.
I'm excited.
Me too. This is gonna be good. Okay, so we all know language is like super important.
Absolutely, yeah.
But thinking about what our brains are doing.
Oh, it's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. So we're going to be checking out like specific brain areas.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, it's those connections between them. That's what's really making language click.
Absolutely. It's like, think of a city, right?
Yeah.
You've got your big landmarks.
Right.
But you need the roads and bridges connecting everything for it to actually work.
Yeah.
Brains are the same way.
That is such a good analogy.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got to talk about these guys. Broca's area, Wernicke's area.
Classics.
Yeah, like everybody's heard of them.
For good reason.
Right. And our source is like all over these two superstars of the brain language world.
They're essential.
Right. Basically, you need Broca's to produce speech and Wernicke's to understand it. But, surprise, surprise, there's more to it.
Always. For example, Broca's area we usually link it with, like speaking fluently, right?
Yeah.
Well, get this. Studies show it's also active when we're listening to music.
No.
Yeah. So it's hinting at this deeper connection, language, music, and how our brains express themselves.
That is fascinating. Okay, so our source talks about aphasia, those language problems that can happen if these areas are damaged. And it's so wild how, like, damage to one versus the other really changes how someone uses language.
It does. It's amazing, really, how specific the deficits can be.
It is. Like, you can have trouble finding the right words, but you still understand everything that's expressive aphasia.
Right. Imagine trying to get a thought out, but it's just stuck there.
The worst. And then there's receptive aphasia, where you can talk fluently, but the words don't make sense, like a jumbled radio station.
Exactly. It's like the words just kind of go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. Wild, right. But like you were saying before, it's not just these individual areas doing their own thing. Our source gets into these neural highways, white matter pathways. They're like the internet of the brain.
Love that analogy. And they're key for those different brain regions to talk to each other.
Okay, so how does it work?
Well, there's one pathway called the superior longitudinal fasciculus mouthful, right?
Yeah.
We'll just call it the SLF for short.
Yeah, SLF. Okay.
So the SLF, it's like a high-speed fiber optic cable. It specifically links up Broca's area with the parts that help us make sense of sounds and words.
So what happens if that cable gets damaged? Like, what does that even look like?
Well, that's where you get something called conduction aphasia.
Oh, yeah, the source mentioned that.
Imagine you hear a sentence like, the cat sat on the mat, simple, right? But then you try to repeat it, and you just can't.
Wow.
That's conduction aphasia. They understand perfectly fine, but repeating. Even simple phrases, forget it.
It's like that one part of the brain is like, nope, not today.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show we need all those little connections for language to work right.
Yeah, each connection is like a tiny thread.
Yes.
In this massive tapestry that is language.
Exactly. And it gets even, like, way more complex when you bring in the dual stream model of language processing.
Okay, now that is something our source really dives into. The dual stream model, break it down for us. What is that?
Okay, so picture this.
Yeah.
You're listening to a friend tell a story.
Okay.
One part of your brain, the ventral stream that's working hard, figuring out the meaning behind those words.
Right.
Who did what, where, why, the whole shebang.
Got it.
At the same time, gets this another part, the dorsal stream.
Yeah.
That one's focused on the sounds themselves. How those sounds are strung together, you know? And it's getting ready for you to jump in and be like, no way, or what happened next?
Oh, wow.
It's like two separate processes happening at the same time, perfectly in sync, so you can understand and respond to what you're hearing.
So we're not talking about just like one path, right?
Uh,
It's multiple pathways all doing their thing to let us understand language.
exactly.
This is so much more complex than like anything I ever imagined.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it shows just how powerful it is to think about the brain as a network.
Right.
We've gone from this, like, simple idea, specific areas, specific jobs,
Yeah.
to this, like, incredibly complex, interconnected system.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I know. Like, it really makes you wonder, how does this whole intricate dance of brain regions, connections, how does it change when we learn a new language?
Oh, that's a great question.
Or if we have a brain injury, right?
Yeah. What happens to those neural highways then?
So many questions. It really shows you how much we still don't know about the brain.
For real. It's the ultimate frontier.
It really is. All right, well, until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
I will.
Me too.
Words that flow like rivers do. Learn a language, join the crew. Every lesson something new. Lengua Viva here for you.
Grammar rules and vocab tight. Practice every day and night. Conversations feeling right. Change your world with words so bright.
Lengua Viva, take a chance.